Today, I want to talk about the NL West. Not that the NL West is that competitive a division. The Dodgers still lead it. But the way the Dodgers are playing, it could become competitive. And really, each team, each of the contenders, the four contenders in this division, are rather interesting. Let's start with the Dodgers. They've lost 10 of 12. They look horrible. Mookie Betts got benched over the weekend. He's not hitting, hasn't hit all season. They did survive a scare with Freddie Freeman yesterday, but overall, the Dodgers are not at all where they want to be. At the deadline, I've written about this. They're going to be active looking for bullpen help. This after signing Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates and re-signing Blake Trinan in the offseason, spending more than $100 million on the bullpen. It's amazing. They end up in this situation every single year. Now, I mentioned in the lead, they could be a team from Mason Miller, and they could be a team also that looks for a bat maybe in left field. They are offensively perhaps one bat short, and it's just interesting to see how this is all playing out for them. As division champions for so many years and as defending World Series champions, I'm sure the regular season for them is a bit of a yawn. They know that they're going to be in the playoffs. The question is, can they come together at the right time? Now, I'm sure they think so, but this is the one thing I've been wondering about all year. They're kind of sluggish. They've got things going wrong here and there. Will Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow and Ohtani, will that rotation be their rotation, with Yamamoto, of course, too, at the end of the season? Will the bullpen sort out? Will the offense be clicking? Will Mookie find it again? They're counting on all of these things to happen to be the team they want to be. I'm not sure it's all going to happen for them. It's theoretically possible, but right now, the way they're playing, you look at it and it looks a little bit troublesome, to say the least. All right, as we move down in this division, the Padres, another fascinating team. The Padres currently hold the third wild card spot. They haven't been quite as hot as they were earlier in the season when they started off so well. They've been kind of a 500 team since, but they're winning enough. They're playing well enough. They've survived some injuries, and certainly without Michael King and Yu Darvish for a long time, their rotation held it together rather well. Their bullpen is amazing. It's perhaps the best bullpen in baseball. 3 of their relievers went to the All-Star game. What A.J. Preller, their general manager, has said is, we're looking for a bat or two. Not just one, but 2. Left field is the obvious area of need. Catcher is also an area of need. It's difficult to incorporate a catcher in the middle of the season, but while the Padres are getting good defensive work out of their 2 catchers, or at least good handling of the pitching staff, I'm not sure good defensive work would cover it, but their catchers, Maldonado and Diaz, they handle the pitching staff well, but they need more offense out of that position. So left field is going to be a focus. There's been talk about Jaron Duran. There's been talk about Luis Robert. It's just going to be interesting to see how A.J. Preller maneuvers in this market. He also has the potential at the end of the season for Dylan Cease and Michael King to be free agents. So with those 2 potentially gone, with Robert Suarez, the closer, potentially gone, he too is a potential free agent. There is some urgency with the Padres. And I always seem to think, this is it. They've got to figure it out or the team's coming apart. Well, it doesn't seem to be that way. A.J. Preller always seems to put it together in some fashion. This, though, is a unique challenge because when you lose those kinds of pitchers, if they do lose them, then obviously it's a different kind of team going forward. So the Padres, as always at the deadline, a team to watch because with Preller, you never know what might happen. Then there are the Giants. The Giants, 11-17 since the Rafael Devers trade. 11-17 since this transformative trade that was supposed to elevate their offense and make them into a different kind of team. Hasn't happened. Get swept by the Blue Jays over the weekend, as I mentioned. They're now 2.5 back in the wild card race. They've fallen behind the Reds. And they just don't look like a kind of team that you expect to make the postseason, do they? They need a lefty reliever. That's something pretty clear right now. They lost Eric Miller. And they are a team also that needs another bat. Put that bat in the outfield, perhaps. I don't know where you put it exactly, but at some point, they're going to have to get more offense too. Maybe it's second base. That's where Casey Schmidt is right now. Casey Schmidt, naturally a third baseman. He has not shown yet he can really hit in the major leagues, has shown flashes. But This team offensively is disappointing. Willie Adames has come on now, but it's been a while since he did come on. It took him a while to get going. So the Giants are a team to watch too, because after making the Devers trade, you can't imagine that they're done. They're obviously going for it. They obviously want to be in the playoffs again, their first year under President of Baseball Operations Buster Posey. But right now, they look like they're short. And then there are the Diamondbacks. And I wrote the Diamondbacks, or wrote about them today, in the lead of my notes column. The Diamondbacks are perhaps the most interesting team in baseball relative to the deadline right now. And what I wrote about is how this is not just about 2025 for them. It's also about 2026. And what I mean by that is this: Corbin Burnes, AJ Puck, Justin Martinez, those three pitchers, pivotal to the Diamondbacks' chances, are all out for at least the first half of 26 after undergoing major elbow surgeries. Now, the Diamondbacks have all these potential free agents who are attractive. They could make qualifying offers to each of them. I'm talking about Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Josh Naylor, and I'm talking, of course, about Eugenio Suarez as well. You can make qualifying offers to all of them, but as I wrote, they probably would all reject them. And if they all reject the qualifying offers, if you're keeping the team together, then you're looking at 7 players that you're without at the start of next season. The 3 who are injured, the 3 pitchers, and then those 4 free agents. So that is why, as I wrote, they need to trade several veterans. They don't need to trade them all because they just swept the Cardinals and they suddenly look like they could be making a push, even though their bullpen is absolutely depleted. They're waiting for guys to come off the injured list. Jalen Beeks and Ryan Thompson and Shelby Miller. They don't look like a playoff team, but they have one of the most dynamic offenses in baseball, top 5 offense. And maybe they that offense carries the Diamondbacks to a playoff spot the way Detroit's pitching staff carried the Tigers to a surprising playoff spot even after they sold last year. Not saying it's going to happen, not saying it's particularly likely to happen, but the Diamondbacks have this talent, this amazing offensive talent. And if you trade Suarez, and the Brewers could be a team for Suarez, the Yankees could be a team, of course, the Cubs, we've talked about all these teams relative to Suarez, then you could have something with Jordan Lawler replacing him at third base. You could put Pavin Smith in at first base if you trade Josh Naylor. There are things you can do, but can they get the controllable pitching that they need? I'm not sure they can do that. So they're in an interesting spot, a bit of a tight spot, and a bit of a curious spot because they're sort of in it in their minds. They have this offense that's so good, and yet they need to acquire talent for 26 because they're already short with those 3 pitchers that I talked about undergoing surgeries. So the NL West is going to be a fascinating division to watch in the next 11 days or so, next 10 days as we approach the deadline. And I'm really intrigued to see what all of these teams do.